Good morning. Welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Amy Papadoupolo, and I am honored to be leading meditation this morning. So I invite you right now, wherever you are, to close your eyes, to get comfortable right where you are. Breathing in and breathing out. Letting everything that has brought you to this place today fall away. Let anything that you have to do after this just sit outside of your consciousness for right now, knowing that you will be there to do all of those things when this meditation is over and when the service is done. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Using that breath to bring you into this present moment, this present place to connect with the infinite now. Giving your mind a few minutes to settle, relaxing your face, relaxing your shoulders. Relaxing your arms and your hands all the way down to your hips, all the way down to your legs and into your feet. Relaxing, letting go. Good. Just as the arm bends, the mind produces thoughts. The brain produces thoughts. That is just what it does. So as you have a thought that comes, just let it go, like a balloon floating away into the sky. Bringing the attention to the breath. Good. So I invite you to open your mind, your consciousness, as I speak these words about what's happening in our world. You can just allow them to wash over you. Take what you want, take what works for you. and let the rest go. Because the mind will hear what you need to hear. We live in a universe that is alive with spiritual energy everywhere. And we are spiritual beings living in this spiritual universe. And this spiritual universe is life affirming. This spiritual universe has an underpinning, an undergird of unconditional love. And we are the expressions, the outlet, the unobstructed channel for the expression of God's love. And I see the entire planet and everyone and everything on it encompassed, surrounded, and supported by love. And I also see the coronavirus surrounded by love. For I know the coronavirus is a vibration of living spirit. It is not an illusion. It has a reality. And right now, I see, I know, and I allow that this virus be loved into a harmless state. And I see our world awaken to their own spiritual magnificence as a result of the coronavirus. Turn away from fear and turn towards faith and wake up and see each person on the planet turning away from fear, turning to faith and waking up to the spiritual inheritance, that spiritual magnificence, that spiritual truth that we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual world, in a spiritual universe. And in this idea, I just relax and sit for a few minutes. I turn away from fear. I turn towards faith. And I know that I am a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe. I surround the coronavirus with love, knowing that love is the most powerful essence that we have. I wake up and open my eyes and absolutely know that I am a spiritual being, an unobstructed channel for the divine, an outlet for good, an outlet for God. So I invite you, if you haven't yet, open your eyes, wake up, turn away from fear, turn towards love, and know that you are a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Tony. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Tammy Evans, practitioner intern, and I'll be giving you the announcements today. Due to the current pandemic, we'll be offering our Sunday services via Zoom and live streamed to our YouTube channel if you didn't already know that. Join Reverend Gregory today from 12 until noon. Oh, that's not right. 12 till 2 via Zoom for his forgiveness workshop. Everybody is invited. If you received the CCSL weekly e-newsletter this past Wednesday, the link to join was provided. You can also obtain the link on our Facebook page. If you don't have this information, please contact Robin and the link will be emailed to you. Have you signed up for Reverend Gregory's Conscious Loving class? I have. You need to too. It's very, very interesting class. Learning a lot. And you can still do so. This is the last week to register. Email Robin at spirituallivingcolumbus.org. Class number 3 takes place on Saturday, May 16th from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. via Zoom. And everybody is invited to join our amazing talent show this coming Friday, May 8th from 7 to 9 via Zoom. The Zoom information is on our Facebook page, and it's in your e-newsletter as well. Sing a song, read a poem, play some music, teach us something cool. The opportunities to share your gifts are infinite. If you would like to showcase your talents, please contact Laurel Peterson at laurel28@gmail.com. And you can just be a spectator too. The amazing Michelle Fott will be the MC for this event. That's it for the announcements. Now let's sing.
Good morning. Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. 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 In the name of love. Get those arms away. Woo. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Amy Papadoupolo, and I am honored to be here with you this morning. We are an inclusive organization, and thank you so much for joining us today on our YouTube channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, please take a moment now and subscribe. We would love to have you as part of our channel. Also, the recording of this service will be posted on our Facebook page a little bit later. Thank you again for being here. We appreciate it. We honor you no matter where you are, virtually or on your spiritual path. The Core Council has decided to temporarily remove the sacred covenant, the saying of our sacred covenant for right now. More information will follow. I'd like to thank practitioner intern Dan Douillard for holding virtual high watch for our service today. And now I'd like to reintroduce practitioner intern Tammy Evans, who will be assisting us today. Tammy?
Now, with the ringing of the bowl, we will begin our sacred service. A reading by Joseph Campbell. The seat of the soul is where the inner world and the outer world meet. Now let the music take us within.
May your days be bright. May your heart be light. May your every moment be filled with delight. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May the ever shining light your way through the night. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May your path be open and your wind at your back. May you be blessed. 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 May you be blessed.
As I drop down to the infinite center where I am that I am, I know that there is only one. I know this one as every thought, every action, every belief. I know it as the sun rising in the morning, as the moon that shines at night, as a smile from a stranger, and this love that vibrates from me to everyone listening and back again. I am one with this infinite source that is the pure essence of who I am, who we are. Source is the roots that tangle us together. All of us present, myself, and the entire universe, tangled together in our roots as the one. I claim an inner knowing that inside this earthly form, there is an essence that combines the inner and the outer. It collides together as one, as everybody listening and as me. And together we raise the vibration of this universe into one of health, wholeness, and peace. I recognize and claim my oneness, our oneness, knowing it as a perfect expression of the one, because that is all there ever is and ever will be. God in me, as me, is me. I accept this health, wholeness, and peace as me and as everyone present and not present. And today I claim an opening at the seat of my soul to receive the message that is spoken here. And from that seat within my soul, I feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude, heaped up and overflowing for knowing this oneness as me and at every soul in this universe. I am so, so grateful for those roots that bind us as one. I let go. I let God. And please join me in saying, and so it is.
May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May you be blessed. May the ever shining light your way through the night. May you be blessed. 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 Where will I go when I'm not inside my body? Where will I go when I'm gone? How far will I wander when the gate is left ajar? Oh, I wonder how far. How will I think when my skull's a hollow chamber? When the brilliant flash of thought ceases to glow? And how will I know
Good morning, Columbus Center for Spiritual Living Community. And thank you to Carissa Holmes. What a beautiful song. First time I've ever seen you play the flute. Your talents are just expanding right before my eyes. Of course, they were already there. I just didn't see it. So it's so great to be with everyone this morning. Wow, here we are again. We're just still doing this thing. We're doing it virtually and we're still in community here. We're still connected. There really is true that there's no time or space in God, that we're connected, we're one no matter what, and how beautiful that we're remaining connected in this way. Today's talk is called Seat of the Soul, and the theme this month is Listen to Your Heart. And the seat of the soul really is in the heart. And this talk is really about returning the soul to the throne of our being, as opposed to the personality being in the throne of our being, or that personality that we identify with as ourself, as opposed to our divine nature, the soul. Of course, the personality is a beautiful thing, but the soul, we want our soul, we want our essence to be at the throne of our being. So I want to read you a few, because I'm going to, Ernest Holmes uses the term soul in a very different way than is commonly used. And today I'm going to use the word soul in the way that it's more commonly used. And I'm going to read you a few descriptions of soul from various spiritual teachers. So Gary Zukav says that soul is that part of you that existed before you were born and that will exist after you die. Ian Van Zandt says the soul is the fingerprint of God. Deepak Chopra says the soul is the core of your being. It is eternal. It does not exist in space-time. Eckhart Tolle says the soul is your innermost being, the presence that you are beyond form. Debbie Ford says soul is a part of us that never dies. It is who we are at our core. Michael Singer says the indwelling consciousness, that soul is the indwelling consciousness that watches the mind come and go. So the soul is really who we are in our essence. And so in returning the soul to the throne of our lives, that means we're living our lives from that place of the soul, of our essence, of love, of wholeness, of harmony. Gary Zukav says that the qualities of the soul, that the values of the soul are harmony, cooperation, sharing, and reverence for life. Oftentimes we think of ourselves, we don't give ourselves nearly enough credit, or we don't give ourselves nearly enough recognition for the divine presence that we are, the divine being that we are. We think, well, I'm just this human, I'm just this person doing these things. And we think of certain beings as being really enlightened. And those enlightened beings, well, they're the ones who can do all these things like forgive and hold space for all people. I'm just this personality. I'm just this little person. You know, I can't do that. You know, I get mad at people, and certain people are hard for me to love. And that's the personality. That's when the personality is in the throne of our life, as opposed to the soul being in the throne of our life. Our essence, our being centered in our essence, our being centered in that core of us that is absolute unconditional love. I remember as a kid, and I was hearing in some of the more traditional churches of a God that was a punishing God. And I remember my little kid logic that said, no, that's not what God is at all. And I was so clear on that as a little kid, and here was my very simple little kid logic. My very simple little kid logic said, I can forgive anyone. I don't hold things against people. I can embrace everyone. I would not punish anyone. So if that's true of me, and if God is a punishing God, then I would be greater than God. And since I know, even as a little kid, that if there's a God, I can't be greater than God, then that can't be true about God. That God is love, because I am love and I can embrace. And I'm sure I'm putting it a little bit more eloquently than my little kid was, but that was the essence of my little kid logic at that time. And it was wisdom. Looking back on it, it was true wisdom. So today, stepping back and bringing the soul into the throne of our lives, our meditation practice that brings us into the heart, that brings us into our center, that reminds us that we are divine. That is the way that we bring this soul back into the throne. And of course, our recognition of that and our agreement to that and our commitment to that and our yes to I'm more than a personality. I have a beautiful personality, but I'm more than a personality. I'm not just that personality that has petty wants and likes and dislikes, and I like this person, I don't like this person, and this person's part of my crowd, and this person's not part of my crowd. The soul doesn't know any of that. The soul is pure love. Oftentimes, we don't fully get this idea that God is all there is. I mean, it's the core of our teaching. If you know nothing else about the teaching, it's like God is all there is, and everyone is a divine expression of God. And it's so interesting how simple that idea is and how often we forget that. Sometimes we get so darn sophisticated, right? And we read all kinds of books and we got all kinds of intellectual conversations we can have about deep spiritual ideas. And we don't get the one very simple idea that God is all there is, that everyone I meet is a divine expression of God. If we could just get that, how could we ever have any problem whatsoever? That God is all there is, and everyone I meet is a divine expression of God. One of my most poignant examples in my life experience of someone rejecting this idea that everyone is a divine expression of God is two women in a Science of Mind community I was part of. And I was in ministerial school, and these two women had become roommates. They met at the center, they met at the church, and they became roommates. And after they became roommates, they began to quarrel. And the quarrel began to escalate, and it got really serious. And so I was praying with one of the women one day over the phone. And I'm doing my just normal prayer, and I'm doing the prayer, and I do the first step, God is all there is, and name the qualities of God. And then I say, and I am one with God. And then I say that the woman I'm on the phone with, that she is also one with God. She is a divine expression of God. And then I brought in the woman that she was in a quarrel with, and I said, and she also is a divine expression of God. And I kid you not, this woman on the phone literally said, no. She stopped me in the middle of my prayer and she said, no, I do not accept that. She is not a divine expression of God. And I was, I just kind of paused for a second, take a little bit aback. It's kind of like, well, they don't really teach us how to handle this in practitioner training or ministerial training. We're taught that when someone asks for prayer, they just listen to our prayer, and here's someone that just stopped me right in the middle. No, this person is not a divine expression of God. And I just paused and I continued along with the prayer. But this is how we show up sometimes in life. We say that this person is my friend. This person is divine. This person is beautiful. This person is amazing. I love this person. Oh, but then this person over here on my left, well, they're a whole different story. But everyone is a divine expression of that one. Everyone is a divine expression of God. So how can we get this? Is to bring our center, come back into our center, enthrone the soul instead of the personality. Identify with the soul as the essence of who we are, as the truth of who we are, as opposed to the personality as the highest place that we are. And so the personality gets linked with the soul, right? It gets aligned with the soul, and then the personality reflects the soul, as opposed to the personality is the big dominant force in our life, and we allow a little room for some soul. We allow a little room for our spiritual essence in there. Do a little meditation here and there, a little prayer, go to a Sunday service a little bit, let a little bit of spirit in, a little bit of essence in, and then let me just be in my personality. Personality is beautiful, especially when we align it with the soul, when we align it with our essence. Then we can be like any of the enlightened beings that we admire. When we're aligned with the soul, it doesn't take anything special. See, when we say that everyone is a divine expression of God, we don't say, but then there are certain enlightened people, they are more an expression of God, or people who are ministers. Well, you're a minister, Reverend Gregory, so yeah, of course, you should be able to do that. Reverend Amy should be able to do that, but I'm not a minister. I'm not even a practitioner. How am I supposed to do that? But the teaching doesn't say that practitioners, you become a practitioner and then now you're more an expression of God, or you become a minister and now you're more an expression of God, or you have a title and maybe you're the Dalai Lama or something else. It doesn't say that makes you more of an expression of God. All that says is that these people have dedicated their life to it. Doesn't say that we're any more of an expression of God than anyone else. It just means that we've dedicated our life to practicing, teaching, and offering this so that others can see their own divinity. That's, to me, the mark of a good spiritual teacher. A spiritual teacher that points you to them and says, hey, look at me, I'm the one, and I have all the answers and I am the light and you need to, step into my light. No. For me, the test of a good spiritual teacher is the one that points you inside your heart and says, you are a spiritual being. You have the answers. You are whole, perfect, and complete. You are a divine being. You are as divine as I am. Even Jesus, who many have said is like the great teacher, the great master, said, great things shall I do, but even greater things shall you do. He was a teacher. He was teaching people how to live in this Christ consciousness, how to live in this oneness consciousness. So we're really being invited today. I'm inviting you today to enthrone your soul, to get the soul back in the throne. If you get a picture of this, you got the personality all up in the big throne and the soul trying to squeeze a little something on the side there, like my cats try to squeeze up alongside of me on the chair, and that's kind of like we're doing with the soul. It's like the little cat, the cat gets a little bit of room alongside our leg, as opposed to where we enthrone the soul and the personality gets to sit in the lap of the soul. The personality gets to emanate from the soul. So it gets to emanate from love. So then we can be all of these things. We can embrace all people. We can forgive easily. We can love easily. We can embrace all people, and we can see every person in their divinity. One of the things that I have been fond of saying is that if someone doesn't know who I am, doesn't know the truth of who I am, it's only because they don't know the truth of who they are. If we know the truth of who we are, then we can't help but know the truth of who everyone else is. So that's what we really have to get. If we're thinking like, wow, it's so hard for me to love this person over here, don't have to worry about that. Learn to love that part of yourself. Learn to look at what part of yourself does that person represent, and learn to love that part of yourself. Because if we fully love ourselves, no problem loving all other people. If we truly see who we are as divine beings, no problem seeing everyone else as a divine expression of God. Nelson Mandela, I think, was a great example of that. After spending 27 years as a political prisoner, came out of prison and led a country without bitterness, toward the people who imprisoned him. He was wise enough to know that it was not going to serve him and it was not going to serve anyone else. Like he could have said, hey, once I get in power, man, I'm going to really get back at all these people. But that's not what he said. And I happen to have the privilege of being in South Africa during his election. I didn't actually meet him, but I was there during his election, and it was quite an amazing process to watch these people voting for the very first time for this person who had been in prison for 27 years and now was about to lead the country. We can do that. Nelson Mandela, there was no more God in Nelson Mandela than there is in us. There was no more God in Gandhi than there is in us. The Buddha, Jesus, the Christ, no more God in any of those people than there is in us. But they chose to enthrone the soul. They chose to have the soul be the center of their life, their essence of God, their essence of love, their essence of wholeness and harmony. They decided, this is going to be the center of my life. When I came into the Science of Mind teaching, there was something deep down in my soul that said to me very early on, that this is going to be really important to you. I could feel it in my bones. I could feel it in my soul. I could feel it in my heart. It's almost like, it was almost bigger. I would say not even almost, it was bigger than when I decided to become a minister. It was this alignment with my soul. It was this realignment of my being when I came into the Science of Mind teaching. And I left my corporate career within 6 months of coming into Science of Mind. And when I got the call to be a minister, it was kind of almost like a non-event. You know, the real call was when I came in and something deep in my soul, deep in my being, aligned with soul. And it said, now you're on a different course. And something deep in my being shifted. So that by the time the call came to be a minister, it was like, oh yeah, right, of course. I mean, I resisted it a lot at first. But once I said yes, it was like, oh, right, of course. You know, I already decided, you know, some years ago that this was going to be my life, that the soul was going to be in the throne, and that I was going to live from that place. But not everyone has to become a practitioner or a minister to live with the soul in the throne of their life. There's always the practitioners that aren't licensed who choose. Some of the best practitioners we have in the movement don't have a license of any sort. I can think of Walter Drew, who has played many roles over the years in our greater movement. He lives in Santa Fe, and he's a layperson. And they awarded him an honorary doctorate because he is this layperson that just totally practices Science of Mind. And he's probably, well, I don't want to give away his age, but you know, he's a senior. Let's say he's a senior. And he is just so dedicated. He and his wife have this regular daily spiritual practice that they do together. I stayed with them one time and was able to participate in that with them. And they are shining examples of people who live with the soul in the throne of their lives. Not ministers, not practitioners, just people who have made a choice, people who have come into the awareness of who they really are. It's really the truth of who we are already, and all we're doing is acknowledging that truth. Gary Zukav also said, and this is from his book, Seat of the Soul, which is the title of the talk today. Reverence is a perception of the soul. Only the personality can perceive life without reverence. The soul reveres all of life. Therefore, when the personality is aligned with the soul, it cannot perceive life except with reverence. You can't perceive it any other way. So when we say it's hard, oftentimes when I'm teaching like this conscious loving we're in now, and I've taught it many times, and oftentimes people will say, well, it's hard. It's hard to embrace all people. It's hard to not project things on to other people. It's hard to take responsibility for what's coming up in me. And I want to start asking what makes it hard. I have started asking that because sometimes I just accept it on face value and then I just say, no, it doesn't have to be hard. But I want to start asking more, what makes it hard? What makes it hard? And my thought on that what makes it hard is that we haven't made the choice to have the soul be in the throne of our life. We haven't made the choice that I am going to identify with my divinity. I'm not going to identify with the smallness of my humanity. I'm going to identify with the infiniteness of my soul. That's a very different identification. And that identification automatically opens us up to a whole different way of seeing things. It's like Gary Zukav said, the soul can only see things through the eyes of reverence. So we see a sunset and we just say, oh my goodness, how beautiful, right? We see everything. We see a homeless person and we say, oh my goodness, how beautiful, what a divine expression of God. Every person we see. I often think, sometimes we walk down the street, especially if you live in a busy city, and we walk down the street and someone will walk, well, now people walk 6 feet away from you, but under other times, someone might walk within a foot or two of each other, and there's not even an acknowledgement a lot of times. But a big event just happened. Like you just walked by God. You just walked by God, and there was no acknowledgement, no awareness. But when we sit in the seat of the soul, where there's reverence for all of life, we recognize I just walked by an amazing expression of God, a unique, amazing expression of God. And we start to see and have reverence for every person. We're not picking and choosing. Of course, we have our preference of who we want to spend our time with and who we want to hang out with. But it doesn't mean that we have anything against any other person. That we just have this reverence for every person, this reverence for all of life, for everything that exists, because of that one simple truth that is so easy to forget, that God is all there is, and that every being and everything is a divine expression of God. I loved in Reverend Amy's meditation, I believe it was, when she was blessing the coronavirus, right? And sending love to the coronavirus. Because if God is all there is, then that's another expression of God. And that's a vehicle, whatever we want to think about it, it's a vehicle through which the divine is using to awaken us in some way. Maybe we don't know what that way is, but everything is used by the divine for our awakening, for the expanded awakening of humanity. When I think about whenever I've made up a story about another person, this person's this and that, and, whatever, I've always been wrong. Every story I've ever made, unless that story was this person is an amazing divine expression of God, then it was true. But any story that is unlike that has always been false. When I've gotten to know the person, when I've sat down with them, when I've looked into their eyes and they looked into my eyes, if I can ever get to that place, I would find out the story I made up about them is not true. The invitation today is to get the soul, to accept the soul, to embrace the soul, to allow the soul to be back in the throne of our lives. Ernest Holmes said that an evolved soul judges no one, condemns no one, but realizes that all are on the road of experience seeking the same goal, and that each must ultimately find his or her home in heaven. Ernest Holmes also said, these are from the Science of Mind textbook, that the student of truth must realize and maintain that he or she lives in a perfect universe, among perfect people. Perfect God, perfect person, perfect being. Perfect God, perfect person, perfect being. This is the truth that we're being called into. If we're practicing science of mind, if we're in this teaching, it's those simple things that I think really help us to be aligned. When we start to get too intellectual and too sophisticated for our own good sometimes, I think it kind of hinders our growth. And it's great when we're ready for more and to delve deeper. But if we're not remembering just and practicing just those simple ideas of divine perfection always unfolding, divine order always unfolding. Every person is a divine expression of that one. God is all there is. If we're not practicing those simple things, don't go to the complex things. Come back to those simple things and practice those simple things until they just keep revealing themselves more and more to you. I can't tell you how many times I felt like I needed to defend something in my life. A person, against a person usually. And it was not a physical threat. It was that this person, I'm afraid that this person's going to overcome me somehow, or this person's going to have power over me somehow, or this person's going to ruin my life somehow based on that they have power over me. And I can't tell you how many times when I surrendered that over and said, you know what, I'm not going to live that way. I'm not going to entertain those thoughts. I'm not going to live, I'm not going to create an experience. I'm not going to create a world for myself that looks like that. There was a minister, Gary Simmons in Unity, who I think it might have been a book, or at least he had a program that said, living in a world where no one and nothing is against me. And it's basically the world that we create ourselves. It's not that that world comes to us and we go find that world somewhere. We start to create that world, a world where no one and nothing is against me. And so I can't tell you how many times where my mind had started to entertain this idea that someone is against me. And if I'm not careful, they might overcome me, they might overpower me, they might. And again, this is not talking about physical danger. This is what the mind was conjuring up about a person, making up stories about a person. And I can't tell you how many times when I surrendered that over and I made the choice that I'm going to have the soul in the throne of my life. And I'm going to see every person as a divine expression of God. And I'm not going to live in a world where I'm thinking people are against me. I can't tell you how many times I was delivered through what would appear to be someone trying to do something. You know, people do stuff. But I can't tell you how many times I have proven this principle over and over again, that we create our experience in that regard. We don't have to be fearing other people. The question of trust comes up often. And I say that the only thing we have to trust is the divine within us. We don't have to go around saying, can I trust this person? Can I trust that person? I think I can trust this person, but I don't think I can trust that person. What we get to trust is the presence of the divine within us, and that which will guide us to know that, oh, I need to move away from this person in this moment, or I need to move toward this person in this moment. And so we get to trust that. We get to trust our divinity. We get to live with the soul in the throne of our being. And so that is the invitation today. The invitation today is to make that commitment, if you're willing. Make that commitment to have the soul be in the throne of your life, and let the personality align with the soul. And then the personality, as your beautiful personality. Don't anyone get the message today that I'm saying there's something wrong with your personality. Your beautiful personality, aligned with your beautiful soul, becomes the fullest expression of who you are and your gifts. Thank you so much. Let's turn within for prayer. And so we enter into that inner sanctuary. We enter into that place where right now in this moment, we make that shift, if we're not there already, to enthrone the soul, to allow the soul to be in the throne of our being. And we center ourselves in that awareness right now, that my soul, my essence of love and wholeness, that's truly who I am. And the personality emanates from that. And so in this moment, in recognizing that God is all there is, and that I am a divine expression of that one, and everyone in my life and everyone in the service, everyone who concerns each one of us is a divine expression of that one. And so it is in that awareness that I speak this word right now and declare and know that for those of us who are making that choice to enthrone the soul, that it's already done, For the soul is already the center of our being, and our recognition of it in this moment is already enthroning the soul as the center of our being, and the personality is right now aligning with that. And so we are fully expressed as the divinity that we are. And we see life, all life, with reverence. And we embrace all people as divine expressions of God. And problems drop by the wayside because we're seeing everything through the eyes of reverence. We're seeing everything through the lens of knowing the wisdom that God is all there is. And so I know right now that good and more good and more good are coming forth for each one of us as we live this beautiful life, this beautiful awareness. And so in great gratitude, I let this be, I release this word, and we ground it together right in our space, right where we are with the words. And so it is. Peace and blessings.
You cannot run from yourself, you cannot hide from the light, my love. Oh, no, you cannot stop what is already rolling. Let it go, roll with the river, feel it flow, roll with the river. Just surrender and let it go. Just surrender and let it go. You can't control it, so you gotta let it. You're always kicking and screaming, trying to fight, but you do not know. Oh no, the current that you are always fighting is your flow. You are the river, feel it flow. You are the river, just surrender and let it go. Just surrender and let it go. You can't control it, so you gotta let it. You cannot run from yourself, you cannot hide from the light, my love. Oh, no. Just open up to the good that is waiting in your flow. You are the river, feel it flow. You are the river, just surrender and let it go. Just surrender and let it go. You can't control it, so you gotta let it.
Thank you, Carissa. Oh, that flute sounds amazing. Oh, and your voice. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Reverend Gregory, for your very inspiring message today. So it is now time for the giving of our gifts during this unique time when we are live streaming, whether you're connecting with us on your computer or your phone or your tablet. We're honored that you're here, and we would like to continue to support you spiritually. So even though we are passing the virtual offering basket, we appreciate your donations. You can donate by going to our website, and you'll see a donate button there. So imagine your gift in your hands. Please place them over your heart if you would like to, and say our affirmation with me. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does its good and perfect work and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And there are many, many ways that you can continue to give your support to Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. We've got text to give. We've got the PayPal button on our webpage. I think it's coming up right now. And you can also send your gift directly to our PO box. I think those are coming up on the screen. There we go. Yes. So there's the text to give, the PayPal on our website, or you can mail your donation, or you can also set up a PayPal, an online continuous giving through your bank account. So thank you for being here today.
I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm singing and praying with my mind stayed on spirit. I'm singing and praying with my mind stayed on spirit. I'm singing and praying with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm living and loving with my mind stayed on spirit. Oh, I'm laughing and loving with my mind stayed on spirit. I'm laughing and loving with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
So please,
Wow.
as I speak our prayer of offering, how good it is to come together. How good it is to be reminded of that Alleluia that sings forth from our soul when it gets in its right spot. The seat of the soul nudging over the seat of the personality, allowing all of those God qualities to express through us: love, light, life, beauty, joy, abundance, and well-being. And right here and right now, I know that all of the gifts, all of the support, all of the contributions come in and engage in that law of circulation. As I give, I also receive. As I know that all people on the planet are abundant. I know that the divine is our source. I know that Columbus CSL, that God is our source. I know that we accept, open, and also engage in that law of circulation, where it's all energy. That money is just energy, and I circulate it. As my blood circulates in my veins, I circulate that energy through the universe, knowing it is my birthright to be abundant and prosperous. I'm grateful, so, so grateful to know that truth with a capital T. I let this go into that law that always says yes. And please join with me in saying, and so it is. So now let's thank Reverend Gregory Toole for his beautiful message today. Carissa Holmes, along with Tony Bernardi on piano, Steve Parakis on bass, and Joe Nelson on the drums. They have all collaborated their musical talents and provided the wonderful music today. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you all of us who are watching on our YouTube channel. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please take a moment to subscribe now to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you as part of our community. And also, if you're not getting the CCSL newsletter, please go over to our Facebook page and sign up for that. Send us an email and we'll get you on there to let you know what's coming up. And if you are here for the very first time, we welcome you. We would love to send you a welcome packet in the mail. And if you would like to have a welcome packet, please go to our Facebook page and send us a private message. And of course, remember to put your name and your address on there and your phone number too, if you'd like. So that is our service for today. Please say our blessing with me. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And so it is.